amazing display about biblical history. And, you know, I hold a special place in my heart for Fox's Books of Martyrs because it really shows we didn't just get the Bible. The Bible that we got came a long way, and even today, some parts around the world, people are persecuted for having one or even known to have even read one. But we take it for granted the freedom we have. And so to look at the history really wakes us up and helps us see the importance of this and how far it's really come. So enjoy this video. All right, Rusty, so show us your little display that you take around and you show people about.
Well, this display is on the history of how we got the Bible. And it begins way down here on my right. Let's walk down there.
Okay.
And you can just take an overall picture here, probably. And you see, we start with archaeology, because that's important part of why I believe the Bible, because I've worked in archaeology, and we have some artifacts that are related to Bible history, and the only one that we can really say, I could talk about each one, but one of the best ones is right here. It is a cuneiform proclamation by King Nebuchadnezzar. It says, I, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, son of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, have rebuilt the temple of Shamash to the way it was before. This actually ties Nebuchadnezzar to the sun god, Shamash. So people that like that sort of thing, but why would I have a dedication to a pagan god in my Bible exhibit? It's got Nebuchadnezzar's name on it.
Well, how do you get something like this? I mean, it's not just something you could buy in a store. How do you get something? Look at the year on it.
How about that?
560 BC.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
And that's original. This is original.
That's original, right.
Wow. So.
There's one of these like this in the British Museum. Now, I found out this was coming up to auction on the day before the auction, and basically took and sold everything portable I had that day and went to the auction, and I was the only bidder. So I got it at opening bid, which was, I had enough money to buy it, which was wonderful. I bought it at auction. This is one of the few pieces that I actually bought at an antiquities auction.
And something like this, I imagine you can't really place a value on it, but it's probably worth a lot of money.
Yes, there have been times I have sort of wished that I could sell the things in my exhibit. I don't ever sell any. Once it's in my exhibit, it usually is there permanently. I can't think of anything that has been in my exhibit that I've sold.
Wow, and that's just
really not for sale.
That's just Yahweh.
Really
you end up getting that. Okay, show us.
There's a value on some of these things.
Show us what else we got here.
We have Torahs. We have Greek manuscripts on papyrus, and this is Christian writing. It's from a codex.
How old is that?
3rd century BC.
Wow.
3rd century BC.
Okay, and then
Torahs from around 1150 to 1200 and around 1400. So
these are on leather.
Old Torahs. This is on antelope skin. This brown one is on antelope skin, and this is on sheepskin.
Wow.
This is very fine parchment. It's almost, you could almost call it vellum.
Okay, so we got our Torah scrolls here.
Okay, and we also have other very nice Jewish writing. This is a codex. A codex is a book. And look at this. This is an amazing invention. Prior to this, you have these great big scrolls that you have to roll and roll and roll to get from one other. Now, look here, we write on both sides of the page instead of one side, and you sew it down the other, and you just then turn where you want to start reading.
Was this probably one of the first times they put pages together like this?
Christians started doing that at the end of the 1st century. All of the earliest codexes are from actually believing Jews, and all of the earliest Christian writings are from our codexes, which means it's in form of a book. This one is from around 1250 to 1300.
Wow.
And it's got the Rashi commentaries on the Megillahs in it.
Oh, wow.
See?
Wow.
And it's actually got Hebrew, pointed Hebrew for the Bible text. This is Song of Songs. and then it has commentary that's in pointed Aramaic with the points above the letters.
Wow.
And then the Rashi commentary on this text without points.
Wow. Amazing.
That is kind of an interesting book, isn't it?
So what do we got next here? Now we start getting into what we were talking about, the translations of the Bibles. Okay.
We have archaeology, which affirms the scripture. Then we have manuscripts in the original languages, handwritten. And then we have manuscripts in translations.
Okay.
And one of the important translations is Latin. This Bible was produced in Latin at Cambridge around 1250. It was the first Bible written at the University of Cambridge.
Wow.
And then we also have something I think is very interesting, Ethiopian Bible writing.
Wow. How old is this?
That's only about 300 years old, but it is the 23rd Psalm. Wow. It says, because God is my shepherd, I don't need anything.
Wow.
On the other side is the 24th Psalm that says, the earth belongs to God, all of it.
Wow.
Not in the beautiful King James English, and the fullness thereof. Nope, it's just all of it belongs to God.
All right, and here we go. We spoke earlier about John Wycliffe.
Yes. This is an actual John Wycliffe manuscript. Probably one of the rarest pieces in this exhibit.
Wow.
This is a list of the folks that aren't going to make it into the kingdom of heaven. God debaters, proud and high on measure, finders of evil things, and not obeying to their father and their mother. It's FADIR, MODIR, fodder and motor.
Well, how'd you get this one here?
Well, I tried to buy one. I tried to trade one. I offered to work for a guy for about 6 months for one of these, and then he said he wanted money on top of my work. Well, I couldn't do that. I couldn't take off and work for him for 6 months and then pay him money too for a page like this. And the next weekend I was doing a program like here, and the guy walks up to me and says, there's something missing from your exhibit. You don't have a Wycliffe page. And I said, oh yeah. And I started telling the story. He said, I bought one 20 years ago. I would like to, he lives in Florida. He might be watching this sometime. He said, I bought one way back when, 20 years ago, and I want you to have it.
Oh, wow.
And he said, for some reason I got it out of my bank vault. I've got it back in the room. And I'll go back and I'll get it right now and give it to you.
Wow, that's powerful. And for those of you that don't know, Wycliffe was, there's a great thing here that says here, he was so highly respected as an Oxford scholar, theologian, scientist, and minister that when he was tried for false teachings, he could not be convicted. So he died naturally in his home, but later on, they dug up his bones, and in the Fox's Books of Martyrs here, they talk about how his bones were burned.
Right.
Amazing.
It didn't hurt that he was highly respected by the king's father-in-law and other very powerful people.
Wow. And there we have a picture of him, John Wycliffe.
Yeah.
And he had a beard, everyone. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
so then what do we have here?
A page from the first book ever printed, the Gutenberg Bible.
Wow. And what year was this?
1450 to 1455. This is an actual authentic page.
Wow. Did you get that one in an auction?
No. That's another long story. We were praying to get a Gutenberg page, and I was able to buy 3 for the price of 1 and sell 1 and donate 1 and keep 1.
Nice.
And so God brought that in a very interesting way.
Nice.
I already had 1 sold before I had to pay for this one.
Nice. Okay.
So before I paid for them.
So what do we got next here?
Here's the printing press that we
Here's
talked about.
the duplication of the printing press, which we spoke about earlier.
And, I forgot to clean it up here before you came.
That's okay. We like to see stuff being used. But let's, in the time we have, let's go behind this.
Great big screw that makes it work.
And how much pressure is that coming down on there?
About 2,000 pounds.
Wow. And you built this, but it's a replicate of what they would have used back then. All right, so let's come back here, and we have...
From here we have the beginnings of the Reformation with Martin Luther and Erasmus. Then we have William Tyndale. And we talked about William Tyndale earlier.
Okay.
Here's his picture, and here's a picture of them strangling him.
And here's his picture. He had a beard also. Okay.
Oh, yes.
And then here they were strangling him before they burned him.
Right. And his last prayer, his last words,
I know that one.
were, "Lord, open the King of England's eyes."
Yes.
Tyndale prayed in 1536, and almost at exactly that same moment, Henry VIII received a copy, the king received a copy of his New Testament, and he read it and said, "That's not so bad."
Wow.
And within 3 years, he had commanded every church in England to have a Bible in the English language.
Wow. Tell us about Miles here.
Miles Coverdale produced the first complete Bible in the English language, and he used mainly William Tyndale's translation, and then he translated from the German, the Deutsch. Everybody thinks it was Dutch, but it was the Deutsch that he translated from Luther's translation, to complete a complete Bible, the first one ever in the English language.
And that's a page from that.
Right.
What a great exhibit. What do you have here now? John Rogers. Now he was Tidendale's, he helped him, and after Tidendale died, he kind of took over, right?
You're right. You know this stuff. That's great.
Yes.
I'm not surprised. This is a page that gives William Tyndale credit for the translation, with a big WT at the end of Malachi.
Wow.
So this is Rogers, and then Henry VIII and the Great Bible.
Henry VIII.
This became the standard Bible in the Episcopal Church.
And this was 1539.
1539.
Okay.
And after his daughter, Mary Tudor, came into power, she started persecuting Protestant Christians. And the ones that were smart got out of town, and many of them went to Geneva, where they produced first a New Testament, called the Whittingham New Testament, 1557, and in 1560, the first Geneva Bible.
And the Geneva Bible, it had the Old Testament in there as well.
Yes, it did. In fact, this is the first complete Bible to ever have verse numbers.
Wow.
And the first complete Bible to be written in Roman type, like Times New Roman.
Yeah.
That's much easier to read than the Old English black letter, isn't it?
Sure, yeah. So that was in 1560.
Not only did it have Roman type and verse numbers, it had extensive notes.
Wow.
It was a study Bible.
Probably the first one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so this was a very
1560.
popular Bible. It went through 140 some odd printings.
How many copies of this would you say are still in the world today existence? Complete?
Thousands.
Complete?
Thousands.
Thousands, wow.
It's there was 146 copies. If you're looking for an ancient Bible that you can afford, these can be bought from $1,000 to $5,000. Of course, the first editions are more valuable. But in just talking money, if you're looking for a very nice ancient Bible, $1,500 buys a very nice one of these. $2,500 buys a really very nice one.
All the way from 1560.
Right. Well, 1599s, 1580s,
Okay.
1607s, some of those.
Seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's way.